I want to talk to you today about wasting energy, like a lot of energy. We waste so much energy all the time. And I'm not just trying to call you out. Everyone does. Almost everyone you know wastes an enormous amount of energy. And I thought maybe we should just talk about it. Talk about what exactly is going on, what are the mechanics of it, essentially, and then what can we do about it? Because that's also kind of important if you want to do something about this. Because wasting energy can impact your life in a huge way. I mean, it's every time that you try and do something physical, like play a sport or, work on a craft or a hobby. If you've wasted energy, you're not going to be efficient with it. And the same thing with your mind, like you're trying to focus on something, maybe you want to learn, or maybe, just paying attention to someone who you're talking to. If you don't have efficient energy, it's going to be very difficult to maintain that and stay focused, stay on track. And also for studying for tests, or if you have a deadline coming up, things always seem to run to the last minute, run way over, and just go not the way that you thought it was going to go in your head, because we waste energy. So let's talk about it. How are we wasting our energy, and what can we do about it? All right, let's get into it. So if we're going to talk about this, I think it's much easier to talk if we have an experiential way to feel it, and then we can sort of talk about it. Otherwise, if I go on talking sort of intellectually about it, you might be like, yeah, I get it, but then nothing. But if it's an experience for you, I think that'll be much easier, because then you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And when I'm talking about how to fix it, it'll make more sense. So let's do a quick experiment. It'll just take a minute. And I would like for you to lay down on the ground. And I know immediately some of you are just going to stare at this video with a blank stare and not do a damn thing and what to do. But if you can lay down on the ground, or at the very least, if you're going to be lazy and just keep sitting there, you can at least do it sitting. It's okay. It'll be better if you go on the ground. And the reason is because I want you to be able to just relax your whole body. So at least if you're sitting somewhere where you can fully relax and not be holding yourself up, that'll be the best. But here we go. All right. So simple experiment. If you're already laying down, great. I'm going to guide you through this. So you lay down. First, just close your eyes. Close your eyes and just start paying attention to your body from your head down to your toes. This isn't some meditation. This isn't some big yoga thing. It's just a quick experiment. All right. I want you just to pay attention. Where are you holding tension? For some people, it's between the eyebrows. They furrow the eyebrows. You might be holding a little tension in your jaw or your neck, your shoulders. Just try and pay attention to where that might be in you, if anywhere. So kind of scan through for a sec and feel am I holding it? Am I clenching my fists, or my feet have tension somewhere? Just see if there's any tension anywhere. Now, if you are holding any tension, just try and consciously relax it. Try and if you have between your eyebrows, for example, you could just take your finger and be just push those wrinkles right away. Just relax it. Or just think about your neck. If your neck is tense, and just be just try and let go. Okay. And so if you've got that all loose, now keep your eyes closed. I want you just to lift up one of your legs. Don't keep it too low, because that'll put a strain on your lower back. Too high and it's too easy. Just right there around 45 degrees or so. So you lift your leg, you're feeling the tension, you're feeling the burn maybe a little bit, or you will in a few seconds. All right. So there's tension, right? It's not easy to hold up a leg like that. Now, again, scan your body while you're holding your leg up. Where are you holding tension? Is anywhere excessively holding? For example, maybe, again, the jaw, the neck, between your eyebrows. Are you is the leg which you're not lifting, the other leg, is that tense? Or is there tension somewhere else in your body? Feel for it and see if you can consciously relax it. And where in your body are you holding tension which is not relevant to lifting that leg up? And see if you can separate the two. All right? You can go ahead and relax your leg. So as you've probably noticed, unless you've developed a level of athletic ability at some point in your life, like finesse in a particular kind of articulating body parts and develop that muscle, you probably had tension in other places in your body, right? So this happens because our body is just trying to compensate for the difficulty going on. And because we have not trained ourselves, because we have not actively worked on isolating something, energy is just getting expended in a bunch of different ways. So this is the essence of wasting energy. All right. And if you want to do the experiment again, just pause this video and do the other leg and try it again and try and pay attention and just see all the places in your body where you are expending energy, tensing up muscles that don't have anything to do with lifting a leg up. And you will see that it's a lot. Like, it's probably so many spots. Excuse me. It's probably so many spots where, you know, like for me, a lot, I notice like between my eyebrows tends to like hold a little tension, or sometimes, you know, right, just kind of like clenching your jaw a little bit, or, you know, your voice strains, all these different things happen. So this is a physical example of expending energy into directions which are not actually the goal. Like, you're trying to lift one leg off the ground. That's the goal in this example. And you've got energy going into tensing up muscles which have nothing to do with lifting that leg. So that's wasted energy. And you don't need to be thinking negative things about yourself. It just is what it is. The point of this is not to judge ourselves or feel like we're bad, because everybody does this, right? It's super, super common. It's not like something you should feel bad about. It's just, this is the difference between doing something consciously and unconsciously. Or in other words, this is the difference between training yourself to be disciplined and focused, and being unfocused and untrained and sort of somehow doing things. And that's how most people are going through life. And this is just physical. Think about it mentally, because mentally or emotionally, it's the same thing, right? Suppose you want to focus on something. Like, here's another experiment you can do. Take your finger, just one finger, and just look at it, and spend the next 3 minutes studying your fingerprint on your finger. Like, just every square millimeter of it, just study it. See how long you can go without a thought breaking your concentration. Just try. I think you'll be surprised how short that really is if you're honest with yourself. How quickly your mind will divert into some other direction. And this happens all the time. You know, you're trying to do your homework, or you're doing something for your job, or you're trying to learn a new language, or like whatever, and you immediately get sidetracked. Almost like as soon as you try and do it, you're already thinking about something else. And it's even worse with technology. You know, you get little ding, ding, ding from whatever apps on your phone distracting us. That's why we have that focus mode now is becoming popular. This is just the reality of our brains when we are untrained and unfocused. There was I forget who exactly it was, maybe a Rockefeller or something like that, but there was somebody in the 1900s who came before Congress, and they were asking something to do with him being successful. I'm butchering this quote, but I just wanted to convey the point across. He was trying to express to them how he was able to be successful, and what he said his skill is that he could keep absolute focus on something for some amount of time, like 30 seconds, a minute, something like that, a few minutes, right? Something, it seems small, but actually it's a lot, because he had trained his mind to be able to stay focused on something for a period of time. And it was way more, and he did an experiment with the other people around him to show that most people just couldn't hold their attention for hardly anything. And this is a huge problem in today's world. We don't have the attention span to do hardly anything. How are we going to solve problems or deal with issues that we have socially if we don't have any attention? So this is where our energy is going all over the place, right? And I know that word energy kind of gets kind of a woo-woo kind of a feeling, especially when a lot of people from, say, the New Age community or somewhere else, they start talking about it in ways that are not graspable or practically experiential for you. So it just feels like, what are we talking about? But I'm talking about it in this very practical sense. It takes energy to have thoughts. That's why when you're depleted and drained, it's hard to think. It takes energy to physically move your body and do stuff. That's why when you're low on energy, when you're like hungry, or when you're like exercised a lot and you've burned off all the energy you have, your coordination goes. It gets sloppy. You're less precise. Why? Because you've depleted your energy. I'm talking about it in that sense. So when we're talking about learning to focus, learning to harness your energy, it's really just about efficiency, because you have a finite amount of energy. So if we want to be able to focus on something, that will improve our efficiency. So when we talk about it physically, if you can expend the least amount of energy to be as precise as possible and do exactly what you're trying to do without getting distracted, without using excessive muscles to do so, that's more efficient. Therefore, you can operate at whatever you're trying to do longer. So if you're trying to play a sport, to have precision, to be able to control which muscles you want to use and which muscles you don't want to use, with accuracy, makes you more efficient. And this is something that is earned. The same thing with your mind. If you want to be able to focus on something for an extended period of time, that is something you earn by practice, by putting attention, effort into it. And this is not a small thing. You should not think about it like, take a sport, for example. So-and-so, this person is more talented than I am. They're better than I am. So I'm not good at that, right? I hear this all the time about meditation or yoga. I'm not good at that. I don't have that kind of talent. I'm not flexible like that. No, of course not. You haven't earned it. You haven't worked at it. It's really that simple. Thinking of people as being talented is not really helpful to you, right? Because sure, some people may genetically be predispositioned to have a little bit of an advantage. So for example, if you want to play basketball, someone who genetically just happens to be significantly taller than you may have an advantage over you at basketball. Sure, but you can still be better at them if you put in work and effort and you develop your skills and they did not. That's easily overcome. That doesn't mean that you can be better than anybody at anything if you put in enough work. Because the reality is we are all differently capable externally. But you can be better than you are now by putting in any effort. The goal is not to be better than somebody else. The goal is to be the best that you can be. And that you have to earn. So when we come to physical things, you just need to focus on something. Now we're getting into what to do about it. How do we focus, right? How do we develop this? How do we waste less energy and be more efficient? If it's not something that's immediately obvious to you, let's break it down. If you want to improve a physical skill, pick something, anything. I don't care what it is. It's good to start with physical skills because they're easier to see progress, right? So it could be learning to draw. I mean, there's tons of tutorials on YouTube. You could just watch and follow along. You could find a teacher. You could find somebody. It could be music. It could be exercise, like physical exercise. There's tons of workout videos online, or you can go to a gym, get a trainer. So many things you could do. Yoga, meditation, these are great things to learn. I'm obviously biased. I'm a yoga teacher, but there are innumerable benefits from going that way. But it's not the only thing. The point is you should enjoy whatever it is so that you stay with it, stay focused. Because if you learn how to focus on anything with a certain level of depth and intensity, you can apply that focus to anything. So focus on one thing that you enjoy doing to a high degree, and you will have sharpened yourself like sharpening a blade. you'll then have that ability to hone in on something and apply that honing in to this and that and that. And sure, again, you can start with physical, but this also applies to mental things. If you want to increase your memory sharpness, well, that has a lot to do with paying attention. And there are even methods. There's entire competitions on how to memorize things. So you can just look up what methods they use and start applying them if that's something you're interested in. Or suppose you want to learn a new language. Okay, well, just sit there and find a teacher, find somebody who you enjoy working with. You could just sit and watch the show Friends in a different language with no subtitles. Just watch the whole season. I guarantee you, if you're paying attention, you're actually watching and enjoying it, if you like Friends, then you'll probably find that you'll start picking up the language subconsciously, and it won't matter. It won't feel like work because you just enjoy watching Friends. You see what I'm saying? Like, you just need to stay focused on something and stay focused on it long enough that you enhance your ability to stay with it for longer and longer and longer. Just as if you practice balancing, you will become better at balance, because the muscles in your body will slowly become stronger, more stable. Because it's not just like in your arm, it's not just you have a bicep and a tricep and your shoulder and like that. There's all sorts of little muscles that have a lot to do with stability. You strengthen all of those as a whole, you will be able to stay balanced and let's suppose you want to practice being on one foot, right? You can stand on one foot without falling over. By practicing it over and over and over again, you'll be able to stay for longer and longer periods. It's that simple. You want to be able to do push-ups. If you practice doing push-ups repeatedly, you will be able to do more and more in a stretch. It's just that simple. The same thing with your mind. Find something you enjoy doing, something that you can stay with. Like, I could tell you to focus on your finger and just try and push it until you can sit there and focus on your finger for, an hour at a time. But you'll probably be bored out of your mind. That's probably not exciting to you. So find something that excites you and do that. It doesn't matter what it is. Right now, the goal is just to learn how to focus on anything. And the best way to do that is to find something that you enjoy or something that's really worthwhile to you and just focus on it. Develop a skill. Develop something which you can do repeatedly so that you develop that. Because once you develop it, you can apply it to anything else. And that is so important. And this is how we develop our ability to not waste energy in a bunch of different directions. Pull it in and push that energy into whatever we're doing. And it will just change your life. It's something I work on all the time with so many activities. There are people who I know who are way better than me at so many things. And I love watching them, because when you take the time to develop a skill, you can appreciate somebody else who has developed a skill, even if it's something you are terrible at. But you can see very clearly they have worked at something over and over for hours. And it's something it can be motivating, it can be inspiring, it can be something you just have respect for. But it should not be something that you judge yourself for or feel bad about, because you can also develop a skill and develop a level of attention like that. Maybe your ability to do something, no matter how hard you work, may never be as good as somebody else, but it can be significantly better than what your current level is. You can be the best that you can be, and there's really nothing more you can do, but that will completely change your life. And that's what I want for you. And that's what I strive for every day. And I hope you are able to work toward that and you find value in this video, and I will see you in the next one.